Hello. How are you? Hello. Why do Germans speak American English? I mean, I was already surprised enough, honestly, when I started making these videos, how many Germans speak English at all. But it is true that the way Germans speak English as well, it's very Americanized. Like, it's not so much like British or like English, British English. You know what I'm saying? English English. I don't know what you know what I'm saying. It's like more American. How did this happen? I want to know. So I got this video. Don't trust the rabbit. Go subscribe to her channel. I mean, shoot. Let's watch.
Hey Rabbits, it's Trixie, and many of you know that I work in an international company in Hamburg, so at work I mostly speak English. And I remember that at least 2 colleagues from Britain already told me that my English sounds pretty good, but totally American. After uploading my first English videos here on YouTube, the same comment kinda appeared over and over again. Which made me think, because at school my teachers always told me to focus on the British English kind of spelling and pronunciation.
Like the way she says teachers instead of like teachers, teachers, teachers.
So if I was supposed to speak British English at school and then worked with British colleagues, how did I end up speaking American English? Before I decided to make this video, I spoke to other Germans that also speak a lot of English. I mean, maybe it's just me, but almost all the others confirmed that they also kinda adapted to the American English pronunciation. Please don't get me wrong, maybe throughout this video
Maybe, here's my theory. Maybe it's because the way Americans speak English, like myself, it's more like actually sounding out the letters. It makes, I don't know why that is, but that's just the way it is to me. Maybe that's just because I'm American, and so that's the way it looks like how the letters should be sounded out, but I don't think so. Like, we don't say, like she said, teachers, like I just said. You know, it's not spelled Teachas, teachers. It's teachers. So maybe that's why.
it may sound like American English is a bad kind of English, which it is not.
Rude.
I'm pretty proud of my American English accent. I just want to understand how I happen to speak it. So why? I am not an expert and this is not a professional linguistic study, but I have my theories. First of all, yes, Germans do learn a lot of English at school, and we're mostly told to focus on the British English version of it. But
that makes it even more surprising.
But all in all, I doubt that the majority of teachers actually knows the difference themselves. The spelling, okay, that's something you can get used to, but
I guess I've never really seen you guys spell. Well, I mean, in my comments you do. I haven't noticed it being spelled like English. There's only so many words that are different, though.
Most of the teachers I learned from didn't speak English fluently themselves. They were hesitating and also making really bad mistakes. For example, I remember one teacher starting every lesson saying, "Hello everyone, now we start," which may give you a little impression of what I'm talking about. Many of my teachers were struggling with speaking, well, you know, English. Caring about the American or British way would have been the next step. Don't get me wrong, I also had some very good English teachers, but let's say out of 25 teachers I had during my whole school time, maybe 4 or 5 had skills that I really trusted in.
It's funny now that I hear, because usually as an American, I don't hear her American accent. I just hear a German accent speaking English. But now that I'm listening for it, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. Like, she's obviously German, but she's speaking English in a, you know, it doesn't sound British at all.
You're always criticizing, but look at yourself. Your English sucks as well.
Yes, I know, it's far from perfect, but this is not the point of this video. I'm spacing out anyways. Let me know if you want another video on my school education, then I'll take care of that. However, this teacher thing cannot be generalized. This is my personal experience growing up in a pretty small city, and hopefully a new generation of motivated teachers will fix this problem. But nonetheless, it might be one of the reasons for me speaking American.
So she's saying basically her teachers might not have known how to teach British English compared to American English. Like, they're just They're just trying to teach English, and they're not that, hers weren't that great at English to begin with, so they don't know like how to differentiate exactly how the pronunciation. So it's kind of like a 50-50 shot right there, like if you're speaking it in a British way or an American way. Am I getting this right?
American English.
That's an interesting theory. I still don't understand. I mean, you would think that the teachers being, in Europe, and if they're trying, I don't know. All right, there's got to be more to it than that.
We were told to speak British English, but the teachers didn't. They spoke like a strange mix out of British English, American English, and wrong English. We didn't, and no one knew the difference or cared.
My other theory is that like American movies are pretty prolific. So if you're listening to, or if you're watching a lot of movies that are in English, then you're hearing a lot of American English, maybe.
So it's no big surprise that we didn't end up speaking what they were told to tell us to speak, and they didn't even know what that meant. Second point, the many influences that we had as young adults to come in touch with English. My point of view is that the school education in English is like a block of concrete. They hand you a hammer and a chisel to make something out of it. I'm sure there has never been a better metaphor for this. But if you really want to make something else than this out of your English skills cement block, you have to invest private time and be motivated by yourself. So what options do you have? Well, first of all, the internet. English videos and movies in the original.
And whoa. Don't ever call me again while I'm making a German video, okay? Do you hear me? Goodbye. Ridiculous. All right, let's continue.
Language, listen to English songs, visit English-speaking countries, or spend a year abroad. But I would dare to say, maybe I'm wrong, most likely I'm not, that doing any of these things, the chance of you getting in touch with American English is a little bit higher than you getting in touch with British English. To sum it up, if you learn English by yourself, you will most likely hear a lot of American English and get used to it. The third point I want to mention is the one that I personally find the most interesting.
I mean, the only weird thing about it is that Britain is in Europe, and so is Germany. So you would think they would speak more British English. But the rest of it does make sense.
But it's also the one that I'm the least confident about. My theory is that British English sounds more similar to German than American English, and that this is another reason why we kind of tend to adapt to the letter. If I, for example, take the word letter, then in British English, this would be pronounced as letter, while in American English, it would be more like letter. Please correct me politely if I'm wrong. Now let's pretend that...
But what? Did she say what I said or the opposite?
And that this is another reason why we kind of...
It sounded like she said German and British English are more similar.
Tend to adapt to the letter. If I, for example, take... and about. My theory is that British English sounds more similar to German than American English.
Then wouldn't you be more likely to sound like British English? How does that make sense? If it sounds more like British English, you would think you'd have more of a British English accent.
Take the word letter, it would be more like letter. Please correct.
I think German sounds more like an American accent because it's more like hard syllables. It's not as like, hello, oh yes, I've got a water bottle, yes, hello.
Me politely if I'm wrong. Now let's pretend the word letter would be German. Since Germans tend to pronounce words ending with vowel plus R as vowel plus A, the word letter would be letter. Pretty close to the British English
Okay. I mean, what do I know? I really don't know.
pronunciation,
I don't know how to speak German, so I'm just making stuff up, basically.
isn't it?
Just saying how it goes in my brain, but I think I'm wrong.
American English puts
But why would that, I still don't understand her point. Why would that make her speak more like an American?
letter. Pretty close to the British English pronunciation, isn't it? American English puts way more emphasis on the R. Car, for, bear, car, for, bear. And now German, car, for, bear. Sorry for my lousy attempt to imitate all of
Yeah, I think she's right. It's more like British, but yeah.
these different
Now I'm just confused.
accents, but you get the point. I know what you're maybe thinking now. If British English is closer to German, then it should be easier to learn and more people should choose it, right?
Yes.
And I agree,
Yes.
that would be logical. But I
That's what I'm
think the
thinking.
reality looks a bit different. If I learn a language, I kind of expect it to sound different to what I'm used to.
This is this is like a tinfoil hat theory right here. I like it. I appreciate it because it's a theory and she's trying to make it work. She's saying it sounds similar to British English, German does. So therefore, when you learn English, you want to learn it like a completely different language, like you're expecting to learn a different type of language, sounding language. So you speak it more differently. I don't know if it's true, but that's an interesting theory.
If something would sound too similar to German, I would always have the impression that I'm doing something wrong or that I have a really strong German accent. British English
I think it is similar to my idea, just that American English is more actually just sounding out the letters, like the R's and stuff. It's not cutting off letters at the end of the word. So if you're looking at car written on a whiteboard, it's like car, not ka.
might not be different enough to give us this amazing, I am getting used to speaking a completely new language achievement feeling. So I guess this could be another reason why some Germans tend to use American English. Because it's something new, something uncanny, that gives us the impression that we have left the German universe and joined the English one, instead of being stuck in a weird dimension in between. Can you still follow me? Yes? Well, then at least one
Yeah, I'm wondering the same thing. Is anybody following what I'm saying at this point? I don't think so.
of us can.
Somehow I feel like I made absolutely no sense this video. Is there anything more?
So yeah, these were basically the 3 reasons that I see why Germans tend to use American English instead of British English. Our school education that leaves a lot to be desired and doesn't really teach us the difference. Then the many media influences that we get, especially when we try to teach English to ourselves. And last but not least, the similarities between the German and British English pronunciation that may confuse us. Tell me what you think. Do I
Okay, I like that. I appreciate that. My theory is I think most likely the media influence, there's a lot of American media going around, so you're hearing that accent a lot. And then if you're trying to learn English, there's probably a lot of American like tools online and stuff for learning English that is made in America. And then was there anything else? No, I think that and then reading English, just reading the syllables, American English just sounds more like actually reading it. That's my theory, but hey, that was fun. Thank you to Don't Trust the Rabbit. That's a cool, I'm never going to forget this YouTube name. It's very strange, unique. Don't Trust the Rabbit. Where's the rabbit? Who's the rabbit? Next time I see a rabbit, I'm going to be, should I trust you? Follow the white rabbit. Okay, anyway, we're done here, folks. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you here again tomorrow. Either way, thank you and goodbye.